It's time. It's time for Pucknology. Pucknology. After dark. After dark. Oh my. It's time.
Oh my, oh my. Woo! Take that, Chelsea Dagger. We heard you once. Ooh, suck it. Martin Jones with the shutout, and he looked beautiful in it. Welcome to this edition of Pucknology After Dark, following a 2-0 victory over the Chicago Blackhawks. I am PuckGuy14 on Twitter. You can follow me there. But if you want to get in touch with the show, that's what we're looking for. Use the hashtag Pucknology After Dark to ask questions or comment on the show. You can also use the YouTube chat if you're checking us out on the page itself. You can follow us on Twitter at Pucknology, at PuckGuy14, at JAlexander46, at Eric Landy, and the rest of the crew as well. With us tonight is my fellow Notch Bro, Gentry Alexander.
Hey.
And the guy who spells his name the right way, Eric Landy.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
All right. Let's rock and roll. So, Sharks win 2-0. I'm sure we totally didn't see this coming at all. We hoped for a good effort. We got a good effort. A strong shutout by Martin Jones coming off of that debacle in Nashville. It's almost like how we have a tough time with Nashville in Nashville. We seem to play fairly well in Chicago. So, Gentry, I'll come to you first. Good evening to you, sir. 2-0 win. What do you think?
It was okay.
And with that, good night, everybody. Thank you.
It was, you know what? Gotta give it to the boys showed up tonight, and against the defending Stanley Cup champions, maybe this is that type of win that can turn their season around. And they did it with down defensemen, so that's showing you the character right now that's showing through, and maybe the leadership is starting to stand up a little bit. So, yay, good for them.
Good for them. Landy, good evening to you, sir. Nice lower third, dude.
Yeah.
Your initial thoughts from 2-0 victory?
Oh boy. Well, I think there's a couple different angles you can go with this. One, I think that they played an awesome road game, really shut down the neutral zone, and just put that defensive stamp on the game, of which we haven't seen too much against a high-octane offense like that, so it's good to see. I think you got a gift from the hockey gods tonight that that goaltender interference call was very much on the edge. I know that if that was a Sharks goal and it was called like that, oh boy, I would be pretty livid, because that looked like a pretty good goal. He did impede him to the net a little bit, but yeah, I think we kind of caught a break on that one, to be honest.
Yeah, like I tweeted out before that he was turning into that PDB was turning into the Tony Dungy with the coaches challenges, that you would challenge it and he would just not win, and you're thinking, why in the world are you challenging it? Yes, I took a little crap from a few people, but there was some contact. But at this point, guys, are we getting to the point where we should just input the in the crease rule again? That way we get rid of this whole goaltender interference crap?
Oh boy, it's really hard to just give a blanket answer, yes or no, on that one, only because every goal seems to be a little different, right? And while they are up to interpretation, I think just having a flat, no skater in the blue paint kind of rule, so to say, would certainly cut down on the goal scoring, and you'd have to really be really creative, and especially with the goalies, how big they are, with their equipment, I think you would really just have a collapse as far as goal scoring goes. Even more so than we have today.
Absolutely. Gentry, what do you think?
If I'm a Buffalo fan, yes, you bring back the in the crease rule. If I'm a Dallas Stars fan, no, because it counted.
That's absolutely true.
By the way, I think we should disallow that jersey in your background.
When you get $100 at the equipment sale, uh, it
Or you
counts.
trade
It
it for
counts.
Halak.
Or you train for Halak. It's an inside fantasy hockey joke that Gentry and I know very well. Patrick Marleau, power play goal. Nice shot, nice goal. Finally gets off the schneid tonight. We were talking about him a couple of games ago, how he's been struggling. Um, finally gets something going. Yeah, I deflected off of a Blackhawk, but that's how it works these days. So Marlowe finally gets a goal. So that definitely means somebody is starting up more Marlowe trade rumors.
Yeah, just keep them coming, man. As long as those rumors are just rumors, you just keep cashing those checks and scoring those goals, Patty. You do it.
Well, considering the fact that it's against the team that wants him the baddest, hey, he just upped his trade value by quite a bit.
Right.
And Gen X, I don't really think we'll have to worry about Puck Guy's jersey hanging in the background because it doesn't actually have the team logo showing, but that one might get us in trouble. So, there's that.
Oh yeah. Oh, and we have some new graphics tonight. So why don't I post this up while it's relevant? I haven't shown either one of you guys, and we might be risking a little bit, but let's take a look at the standings, shall we? All right. So here we go. LA with their unreal victory in those in those Minions uniforms tonight. They go to 67 points with 30.
Rose. Sorry, I was watching Gen X. He says, "Damn it, Eric, fold your laundry."
Oh gosh. Sharks go to 60, so they're the second Pacific team to get to 60. Anaheim also won tonight, beating Philadelphia, so they're at 59, and they're hanging on right now. Right now, San Jose has them beat with the
Rose.
So thankfully, if they were to leapfrog San Jose, they couldn't do it quite right away just yet.
We're talking Vancouver?
Anaheim.
Oh, Anaheim. Yeah. Yeah, Anaheim is kind of funny because they get beat up by Pittsburgh and then they go out and beat Philadelphia. So I don't know what to make of this team yet.
In Arizona, still hanging in there. Although as we've noticed now, there's been a little bit more of a gap going around. Calgary looks like they're about to beat Toronto tonight, so that's eventually go to 51. Vancouver looks like they're going to actually get a regulation win, so they'll go to 17. So they'll actually have as many regulation overtime wins as the Edmonton Oilers do right now. But also I've added over the wild card just to kind of keep a pace at where they are in the wild card spot. Nashville and Colorado are at 58. And that might change as well as we go through the night. So, pretty good look at it. They're starting to stretch it out.
I think as of right now, yeah, Vancouver's up 3-1 on Colorado. On Colorado, who will probably lose this game. So they'll stay at 58. And I think that score, yes, it does include the Nashville loss to Washington. So yeah, I think you know what you're keeping pace with the entire Western Conference pack. You're still nipping at the heels of LA. And LA still has some games head to head with Anaheim. So it'll be interesting to see how the division shakes out. It really will be. But I think that I think they're in a pretty good spot. I mean, you don't want to count your chickens before they hatch because we know what February is due to this team. But you know what? If they can keep at this pace, they'll be in pretty good shape.
Gentry.
What Landy said.
Back to you, Landy.
Back to you, Landy. So, I mean, stellar goaltending from Martin Jones. Do you go back to him Thursday night? Or do you finally give Stalock a chance to get in goal?
Oh boy!
I mean, you have a 2-game homestand coming up. You have Thursday night against.
I mean, do we really want to go on the many adventures of Alex Stalock while we have some kind of momentum going. I mean, yes, we had a pretty decent road trip. We split it. But coming off of that showing against the Blackhawks, do you want to be like, okay, Stalock, here's your broom, go on your magical adventures in net? Or do you keep with the steady, Martin Jones? Uh, at some point you're gonna have to give Jones some rest, but you got to go with the hand while it's hot. So go Jones.
Yeah, decision. What do you think, Landy?
I kind of go the other way, and the only reason why is because you've got some pretty big games after that Calgary game where you really want the sure hand of Jones, and he's, you know what, he's been being ridden pretty hard right now. I think this is a perfect opportunity to give Stalock. AJ's saying Stalock for Carolina, but Carolina's been playing a lot better, and I think right now I feel like Calgary is probably the team that you want Stalock to play against. But you know what? If they continue to ride Jones, I mean, it's no different than what Chicago's doing to Corey Crawford, and look at how far they've gone. So, is giving him 68, some odd starts, is that a bad thing? Well, it probably will tie him out for the playoffs, but it's not like it hasn't been done before. So, you know what? I don't know. We've also got some questions about Mueller and Dillon, with Dillon's injury out tonight. I didn't see what the injury was. I saw his last shift. It looked like he kind of went in a little funny into his check. Did you guys see exactly what was going on?
I really didn't see it at all. They replayed it a couple of times as they began the third period. I didn't see, unless, he just tweaked his shoulder or tweaked a leg a different way. I really didn't see where it was, but he only played 2 shifts tonight, a minute 22. I'm seeing that people are suggesting Mueller gets the call up. Tennyson's already with the team technically, so you probably would go with him as your number 6, which would be nice to have just in case someone would go down. But it'll be interesting to see when they get home, either late tonight or practice tomorrow morning, as to hear what the latest is on Brendan Dillon.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know, because if it didn't look bad, so I mean, it could be like a pulled shoulder, or he pulled something in his leg, or it could be as bad as he had something separate, so we just don't know. Haven't gotten any kind of word yet from the Sharks media, so you just gotta wonder what exactly is it. I think, well, I'm not exactly sure where the Sharks stand as far as roster space, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but they already have Brown sitting in the press box and they have Tenney in the press box, so I don't know that they can call up another person, can they? Not without sending somebody down? Or do they have one more spot?
Or can they send to the IR?
Yeah, that's
something serious. I mean, they can put him in IR and get somebody on there. Right now they have $3.832 million with how they have Smith and Torres buried in the Barracuda.
Pashelka just chimed in. DeBoer says upper body for Dillon. Looks like he's day-to-day, so we'll see how he is tomorrow. It doesn't look like it's too bad. If they do keep him out, it's probably not a bad idea to keep him out for that Calgary game. It might be a good idea to have Tenney kind of draw on the lineup then. I'm not too sure, if you bring up Mueller or not. I don't know, man. He hasn't been doing so great. The team hasn't been doing so well. You wonder where his confidence is right now. I think you probably would want Tenney over Mueller at this point, but that's me.
Yeah, I would probably go with Tenney right now, since he's with the actual team. They'll be home, but I don't know what the schedule is for the Barracuda. But yeah, I'd probably stick with Tennyson. Between Tennyson and Mueller, I think you have a little more confidence in Tenney.
Brady Phillips asks, can Tenney play on the left side though? Um, doesn't DeMello, is he naturally righty who shoots left? Or is he a lefty that's just playing out of position right now?
I think he's a lefty playing out of position.
That's what I thought. I seem to remember that he's playing on his off position, and that he was getting so many accolades because he was doing so much better on his offside. So I don't know, but yeah, we also got some other interesting news coming from Twitter and Tracy Myers, the CSN rep for Chicago. She's saying that Coach Q storms out of his press conference after they asked him about the disallowed goal. He was that pissed off. He just kind of pulled a Cam Newton there. And yes, I said Cam Newton. And he just kind of just walks off. So it's kind of interesting, but, going back to that goal, man, it's just I'd hate to be on the receiving end of that call. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I'm looking at the it's I'm looking at it right now, and he is. You can see he's like steaming red, but he's pissed that you don't know what's a good goal, don't know what's a bad goal. I kind of agree because that's so iffy on. Yeah, and he says, "I can't believe it," and then he just storms out. I can't blame Quenneville for that. I can't blame him for him to be upset. I mean, that's a huge one for the Sharks. It's not going to affect the Hawks too much, even though Dallas won tonight in overtime to Minnesota. But you just never know down the road.
Yeah, you don't. And you know what? Dallas has got 3 games in hand on Chicago, so they could potentially move back into that first spot if they make up all the ground. It's funny because we've all been talking about how deep and how good this Central Division is and yada, yada, yada. But you look at their schedule, we in LA, Anaheim, and Los Angeles all have games in hand on them. I mean, for instance, Los Angeles has 5 games in hand on Chicago, and they have 2 games in hand on Dallas. They have 4 games in hand on St. Louis. We've played the same number as Anaheim and LA. So, yeah, the Central is good, and they've got the cream of the crop as far as teams go. But I don't think that it's lopsided. But I don't think that it's as lopsided as they all make it out to be. I think it's starting to even out just a little bit.
Gentry.
I agree with Landy. No, I think it's, I think you're starting to see the fatigue of that high-powered, kind of fast, I think the Central it's starting to kind of even out, and I think that, in many ways we kind of saw a bit of that in the All-Star game where everybody's kind of saying that the Pacific is the lackadaisical kind of division of it, but then the Pacific won the entire thing, and I know it's like, it's 3-on-3, and we had John Scott, beast that he is, but I think we're starting to see the Central, we're starting to see the kinks in that, and I think maybe, and the Sharks are starting to find their game. LA definitely found their game tonight, against the Bruins. But yeah, I think if you're and how many games we have in hand against them, it's going to be a tight race, and I think the Pacific has a better chance of taking over the Central, or vice versa.
Yeah, no, I know what you're trying to get at. Where now you have Anaheim, the Sharks, Arizona's hanging in there as well, hanging in there for where the wild card spots would be.
Mm-hmm.
It's just. We started off rough, and now the Pacific's kind of caught up to them a little bit, and the bottom 4 of the Central have kind of slowed down as well. So it'll be very interesting because now, yeah, you're right. Everybody was talking about how wonderful the Central Division is. Now I think it's kind of coming apart. I still think Central is still pretty good.
Yeah,
but but the Pacific is coming on strong.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, Minnesota has been playing like crap lately, and they just lost tonight in OT against
Yeah, they're
Dallas.
1-7-2.
Yeah.
That's
They've been
And
and
they scratched Vanek and Jason Zucker. I mean, that would be like scratching what, Marlowe and Couture. That's a gutsy call to make. And if you're a Minnesota fan, you're going, oh God, wait a minute, we're on the outside looking in. You're scratching good players.
And now you're starting to look at that trade deadline like, what is Minnesota planning? Because, they already have so much money invested in Suter and Parise and Devin Dubnyk. What else can they do to possibly salvage their season? Because they came into the season with really high expectations. They were supposed to rival Chicago and St. Louis, and now they're on the outside looking in, and now it's your Central Division leads are Chicago and Dallas, and
Well, I mean, okay. Let's go back to scratching top players. I don't. When you're 1-7-2, I think you got to shake it up any way that you can, and I think that that's a viable option. Yeah, they are making a lot of money, but at some point when you're in that much of a spiral, you've got to snap them out any way that you can, and while it might not be the most effective way, you might be nerfing your own lineup in some respects, but you know what? I mean, if you gotta shake up the team somehow. I mean, besides a trade, that's the only way to do it.
yeah, it's kind of like what the Sharks did earlier when they scratched Wingles and Hurdle, and they came back like gangbusters that next game, and each had points. So I think maybe that's, and I know that's what they're trying to do. They're like saying, hey, nothing is safe for you guys. You guys need to perform. So
Yeah,
I'm all for that. I think that's what every team needs to do, because I think we've gotten to this whole motif of, oh, I'm the marquee player, I'm the most popular, everybody has my name on the back of their jersey, but the name on the front of the jersey is a lot more important than the one on the back.
yeah, and just going back to the divisions kind of shaking out and kind of evening out a little bit. You look at the last 10 record in the Central Division. The best team with the last 10 is Nashville, and they've only gone 6-4. Now shift over to the Pacific. You've got the Sharks going 6-2-2, capitalizing on more points than the best in the Central in a 10-game span. Anaheim's 8-2. LA's at a respectable 5-5, but we don't really respect LA, so it's kind of a crap 5-5. You look at Arizona, Vancouver, Calgary. They're kind of the sore thumbs, especially Arizona. They've started to really come back to earth. They're 2-6-2 in their last 10. So while I agree, I think the top three teams in each division is starting to even out. I think that the lower tier of the Pacific is just a notch below the lower tier of the Central. So, you know what? I think that the West is definitely the stronger conference, and it wouldn't surprise me if you've got one of 6 teams going up against. I think Washington's going to take it. I think they're going to take the East.
They're the most balanced. That's the team that has impressed me the most is Washington. They took that last year in stride, and they said we're going to build and we're going to make it. We're going to make ourselves stronger, and they have. And then you also are solidifying the fact that they now have a true number one goaltender in Holtby, and that's and Ovechkin's finally becoming an all around good player and and a leader. And
well, you know what's so crazy? They're not even in double digits in regulation losses. They've still got 9. They've got 9 losses. And it's freaking crazy. And they've played the least amount of games in their division, and they're leading it by a wide margin. They're up
17 points on.
So what So what you're saying is that they're going to win the President's Trophy and then lose in round 1.
Yeah, that would be so Washington because they're kind of the Sharks of East,
Well,
right?
they did that before. They won
Right.
the Presidents, and then they got knocked out by that miracle Montreal team, and I think it was what
2010.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, it's crazy because we remember we were oogling and googling over how Montreal was playing at 9-0, and now they are currently sitting 3 points out of a playoff spot. I mean, yes, they're missing Carey Price, but holy crap, are you kidding me?
But
I mean,
also, they're 3 points out, and they've won their last 3 in a row. So good for them. I think that they really are hoping that injury to Carey Price, myself included, isn't as serious as it sounds. But here's the question for them: is that if they are for sure not going to make the playoffs, do you shut down Carey Price for this season? And I say no, please don't.
Well, I mean, I know from your fantasy perspective that you say no, don't.
God, no.
I think if you're Montreal, I think that you've got to look at the entire structure of the team and say, we haven't been good offensively for a while. And I think it's time to refocus and to reorganize that offense over there in Montreal. I think, if I was them, I wouldn't say tank, but I also wouldn't be rushing to put Carey Price in there and rushing to do anything else because this team outside of him has got some major structural issues, and I don't see how Carey Price fixes all of those things. If Carey Price doesn't score your goals, he keeps them out. So if you're able to score, 1 or 2 a night, that's normally good enough for him to get you the win. But you know what? That doesn't. I mean, it gets you pretty far in the playoffs because there's not a lot of scoring. But man, when you really need a clutch goal, I'm just not counting on Pacioretty or Eller or Galchenyuk to do anything. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very, very tough. Montreal's kind of in the same realm with like Vancouver in the essence that you are hanging in there, but a 4 or 5 game losing streak, and then you're thinking all of a sudden trade your best players and tanking for Matthews. So it's a tough call. But speaking of trades, let's go over this one, guys. A 9-player trade plus draft pick went down around 8:30 this morning between Toronto and Ottawa, and which saw Dion Phaneuf head to Ottawa, which I believe a few days ago the Leafs were in Ottawa, and Phaneuf was getting the Pronger treatment, getting booed every time he touched the puck. Milan Mahalik, former Shark, is now a Maple Leaf, and this definitely takes care of cap space for Toronto. Ottawa gets a top 4 defenseman for the next 5 years, mind you, and
I think an interesting way that it was kind of laid out on Hockey Central at noon this morning was putting it this way. You get the instant cap relief for the Senators, who are able to shift Mahalik and Cowan and save, I think it's $4.5 million worth or so of cap space. But then you take back Phaneuf. So basically what's happening is for the next 2 years, Toronto's got to eat a little bit of cap room. It's not as big as, say, what Phaneuf was making, but really where it starts to benefit the Leafs is 3 years out, because now they're not paying Phaneuf, who will be a 33-year-old defenseman, $7 million. So I think that's where the real savings comes from. I think you also got to realize that they're trying to shift the makeup of that team. You've gone from last year, from a Phil Kessel and Dion Phaneuf-driven team to now a Kadri and Riley-driven team. So, Fusion puts it at a good point. He says Toronto's in a great position now to make a run at Stamkos. Yeah, I think that's what this has got written all over it is Stamkos.
No, I definitely agree with that, and I think Stamkos, they are hoping and praying that he does not re-sign with Tampa, but all indications that he might. But there's that slight chance because you got to think if Stamkos hits free agency, any team with cap space is gonna just open the checkbook and be like, fill out what you want and sign, and here's a blank check, give us a number. And for a guy like Stamkos, who's only 25, still in
20,
the
yeah, he'll
yeah
be 26.
25, 26, and he's still in the prime of his career. Any team that's looking to rebuild and needs that catalyst to do that, look no further than Stamkos. And I think his value actually went up because Kopitar, re-signed. And then you also have the free agency mark with Milan Lucic is going to be on the free agency next year or, after this season. I mean, it's going to be interesting, and I think between those two, I think Stamkos is going to be the pick that everybody wants. But any team that needs a power forward that can score goals is going to be looking at Milan Lucic. So
Yeah, and I'm looking up at the stats right now as far as overall points, and Stamkos isn't even in the top 10. So you got to wonder if maybe he takes like a 2-year deal with somebody, a little bridge contract, and then when he really hits the home run as far as points goes, he really rings the bell. Because if you take a little 2-year contract, you'll be 28, which is, if you look at the Sharks and their players, they're really starting to blossom around 28, 29 and really get the best bang for him. He could hit a real big home run. I mean, he could top out over Kane and Taves if he's really wanting the money. So, it might make more sense to do the little bridge deal and pay him high cap hit, but for low term. So let's say $20 million for 2 years. If somebody can get that, I mean, because right now his stat line is 53 games played, 21 goals, 19 assists for 40 points. So, he's 38th overall in point scoring. So I don't know that you could hit the home run that he's looking at. But if you do that 2-year bridge deal and then, follow it up with like a 80, 90-point season, oh boy, and now you're talking like real big bucks. You're talking above Kopitar, above Taves, and above Kane, because I think the skill level, to be quite frank, I think it's higher than Taves. I just don't think that he's necessarily been getting the good assignments in Tampa Bay, and I don't think that he's got the line mates. I know he's got a good nucleus of players there, but I don't think the line mates are as high quality as, let's say, if he get picked up by.
I agree with that, and also it's because Cooper, the coach in Tampa Bay, tends to use the triplets more than he does Stamkos, and I think he's your captain for a reason. He's been your go-to guy all these years. Why not stick with that? And he's always delivered, and now you're saying like, oh, well, we're going to bring in the younger guys, and it's like, yes, you can mold those guys in, but you got to remember that your leader is Stamkos, and I think that's, kind of shifting him over and making him feel uncomfortable where he plays.
Yeah, he's not one of Coop's troops, basically. They keep saying, oh, all the kids that grew up with Cooper, and he's not one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I just you got to wonder too when you give the coach an extension. That's Steve Yzerman saying, look, coach, I'm giving you the power for the next 3 years. You're going to be, the point man, and I have full faith in you. That's kind of a slap in the face of Stamkos because he's not being deployed in all the situations that previous coaches put him in. So it's interesting. I don't know what you do, man, but I do think that you've definitely isolated out a key player, and you don't really want to be doing that.
Yeah. But speaking of the UFA market, guys, we're on great segues here. I'm feeling the chemistry tonight. Dustin Byfuglien yesterday re-upped with Winnipeg, and he's probably a comparison with numbers and stats to Bernsey. Bernsey still got one more year on his contract after next season, and I think the All-Star game showed anything that he is a very likable character and player that could be very valuable down the road. So the question to you is this. It was was it a 5-year, 38
Five,
million?
5 year,
yeah,
38 million.
All right. So
5.67 each year. Yeah.
so do you pay Brent Burns that amount when his contract is up, or get it done 1 year early to lock him in?
Well, I think you definitely get him 1 year early. You don't want that kind of a defenseman going to free agency because some Yahoo out in, you know,
Philly.
yeah, Philly or hell, just looking at Ottawa and picking up Dion. Well, man, if you had Burns, Dion, and Carlson, they've got a ton
And
of
Mark
cap space.
Mathot. Yeah. And Mark
Yeah.
Mathot.
So I don't think that you let a defenseman like that go to free agency. Um, right now Burnsy's second in the league in scoring. Boy, and I mean, I don't know if I take him over Bufflin as far as defensively. I think I probably take Bufflin over him defensively. But I was saying with you guys over DM, I think you probably look at least a 20% cut above Dustin Bufflin. I think year over year, I think it's got to be at least 20% plus what his contract is.
You also have to look at what he's been able to, accomplish with his team. And I think when it comes down to it, he is one of the faces of the franchise right now. He is, he's our all-star. If you look at the Sharks, they think and they think Pavs, and they think Burns, and they think Jumbo, Marlowe, and Couture. But like right up there, it's Burns, and he's been a fan favorite even before he played a single game for the Sharks.
Yep.
He has gone out of his way to make San Jose his home. So why not reward him with a big contract? He deserves it. Yes, he has some issues defensively, but in terms of character and in terms of, he puts up the points when need be. And if we were going by just how many points he puts up, I mean, he's deserving of a long-term deal. And I think you don't want that distraction of the impending free agency, because look at what that's doing to Tampa with Stamkos.
Yeah.
You don't want that looming over, and you don't want to go into the locker room. I mean, if you found out day one, oh, we just re-signed Burns to a long-term commitment, that's what we want, the commitment. That sends a message to the locker room that puts everybody at ease. So you definitely want to nip that in the ass before it becomes an issue.
Yeah, and put it to you this way, you've got Thornton and Marlowe expiring the same year that Burns expires. I think that you probably get Burns done before you go to Thornton and Marlowe with their contracts. I don't see how you can let him walk away, especially what he's done for the franchise as far as getting it through these kind of transition years. I think you got to reward him for that. But we also got to think about DW too, and the kinds of contracts he gets these guys to sign. That the original Brent Burns deal was pretty amazing in the fact that he got him locked up for $5.76 million. I mean, that's pretty crazy for the amount of term that he got. When he first came over to San Jose
with a no trade.
So I think we've got Gen X saying so $8 million AAV for Burns. Put it to you this way: I think we're probably looking at 7 years for probably. Let's see, he's 30 right now, 31.
When he signs his contract, this contract will kick in at 32.
I think you put him at 6.7. I mean, and then you just give him a fat signing bonus.
Yeah, I think,
or you get the lesser number, but you go with a full no movement.
Yeah, I think you're looking at a 5 by 35. I think is probably where he's going to slot in. So we're looking at 7 million AAV for 5 years. That puts him out to 37. I think that's probably where you're going to end up, and especially with the cap moving too. We don't know where exactly it'll end up. Right now, I think you look at the Canadian dollar and you say the cap's probably going to stay pretty close to 70 million next year, but I think when he comes time to ring the bell, I think you'll probably see the cap move to about 72, 73. So you'll get a few extra million in relief, but I don't think Hasso lets him walk away.
No, and then also you got to look at once other impending restricted free agents after this season is Nieto and Hurdle. So that's a good question for DW that he's going to have to address.
Right.
And
Go ahead.
I think right now I think Hurdle would be the main priority of getting him re-signed to maybe like a bridge like 1 or 2 year deal, because then once Thornton and Marlowe expire, then you can start to look at his performance and be like, well, maybe you do something closer to what they did with Logan when he got his bridge deal.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what you look at too, and especially because the points aren't necessarily there for Hurdle, but you do know that the talent is there. So I think you just kind of give him that little bit of a carrot, but not giving him, the full money where it's like he can kind of rest on his laurels. Sorry, Laurel, but I had to say laurels. I think in so far as anybody else that they really got to lock up. I mean, you've got a few guys, Peter Emmanuelson or, Jeremy Langolis. I do like him and, things like that. But really big ticket contracts, I think you're only talking about Hurdle and Matty Nieto. I think maybe you give him a qualifying offer, but I wouldn't give him more than that.
No. You give him a qualifying offer at maybe $1 million tops, if that. Because he still hasn't shown me much. I personally, him and maybe Wingles, you dangle out as trade bait at the deadline if you can grab somebody.
Oh boy, Nieto. Slushy was saying 1 year for $2 million for Nieto. I wouldn't even give him $1 million or $2 million.
No, not $2 million.
God, no.
No,
you're not going to triple his pay raise for what, 6 goals?
Yeah, I think if anything, you probably top out at like 1.2. I don't think you go any more than that. And if if he's gonna hold out for that, be like, hey, you know what? Sorry, proof is in the pudding, and you don't have your pudding out. So
no, he's, as we call him, Torrey Mitchell 2.0.
Right.
Well, so Chris is saying 1 million. You realize fucking useless players like Mike Brown get $1 million, right?
Well,
yeah,
borderline fucking useless.
Well, look at comparables even on the Sharks. Melker Karlsson, who's had more of an impact, is only making 1.6. You look at Chris Tierney, who's having more of an impact, is making $700,000. Now he's only on his ELC, but still, I mean, you're looking at comparables on your own team. There's no more than 2 guys. One is younger than you, and the other is relatively similar age, and they're making, what they're making right now. So I don't think you go more than 1.2 million.
That's if you keep him. Remember, Chartier is in the system. Goldobin's in the system.
And Meyer
is in the system too.
Yeah.
Nieto could be gone. I mean, they could just let him walk come July 1st. I mean, there's a certainly, definitely for sure way of just letting him walk. I mean, the same thing with maybe for Wingles coming around. You have these guys coming up. You can see and let him walk too, for that matter. It's going to be an interesting 20 days down the road, or as TSN 1050 in Toronto puts it, there's 143 days left before free agency begins. And Steven Stamkos is without a contract.
You've got Gen X saying, stop GMing like a normal person and start GMing like DW. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get my orange filter on.
Hold on. Well, if we're going to start doing like that with DW, I'm going to sign Nieto and Hurdle to both deals of 3-point-something mil and give them full no movement clauses.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Just make it rain no movement clauses.
Make it on them hose. Go ahead.
You want to hear something scary? The New York Islanders will have $25 million come off season.
And
if they happen to sign Stamkos, and you have Stamkos and John Tavares as your 1-2 punch, oh my God. Oh my God.
Picture a line of on the power play of Okposo, Tavares, Stamkos.
Well, you'd have
Well,
you have to sign Okposo though, and I don't know that they'll get him done. I don't think they'll get him and Stamkos. I think it's either one or the other, but still, that's pretty freaking crazy.
That is crazy. Oh my goodness, that's really crazy.
And that's a team on the rise, and that might interest him too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. So are we going to unleash the Slushy Jake corner question of the night?
I don't know.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Come on, Slushy, let it be a good one.
Okay, question number 1. After the 2004-2005 lockout,
yes.
and other than the lockout shortened season of 2012-13, Patrick Marleau, point-wise, he had his worst point total in 2007-2008.
Right.
How many points did he have in that season?
In 07-08?
Yeah, so do you want the supplied answers, or do you guys want to take shots in the dark answers?
Oh, gosh.
I will give you the multiple. It is a multiple choice, but if you are very daring, we can play the up or down game, or we can play shots in the dark, or I can just give you the answers and you tell me which one you think it is.
How do you want to do it, Jen?
I'm going to go with the multiple choice. I always do well at those.
Okay.
Let's go C.
Okay. So A,
47, but go ahead.
A being 48 points, B being 52 points, C is being 54 points.
I'm going to go A.
Yeah, I was thinking A. I was thinking 47 points beforehand.
You're both going with A?
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. You guys win the Slushy Jake question corner.
I'm going to Slushy now. All right. Good job. Nice.
All right, Slushy, you got your question on air. Thank you for the format. That does make it a lot easier for me to read it out. And yes, Laurel, that is their final answer.
We didn't need to phone a friend.
Exactly.
Well, let's update the standings really quick. Sorry to cut you off, Gentry. Calgary did win, so they go to 51 now. Vancouver also won. They go to 54 and actually pick up a row. They now have the same amount of rows as Edmonton right now.
I got a little trigger happy with the rows.
No, that's good. That's good. You know, by the end of the season, we're going to be singing "Row, row, row your boat."
Gently down the stream.
And Gen X is just gonna, you know.
Gen X is awesome. He just there was a question given by our own Chris JWS asking if Joe Thornton was anchovies and Dan Boyle was pineapple. Who do you put on your pizza? Hashtag Slushy's Corner. And Gen X replies, I'm going to go with C, Pavelski as prosciutto. Very good.
Oh.
Very good.
Okay, first and foremost, Dan Boyle would not be pineapple. Pineapple is horrible. Pineapple is the most useless thing ever to put on a pizza. Come on.
Boy.
He would definitely be like, I don't know, bacon.
Okay, and then our own AJ Strong, of course. If each Shark player was a flavor of a slushie, what flavors would they be? Hashtag slushy question.
Brent Burns would be probably the Coca-Cola flavor, just because of how brown in the beard he is. And then Pavelski would probably be bright red because, you know, America.
Yeah, the cherry flavored.
Yes.
So you mix those two together, and it's just a perfect.
All right. So then, are we saying that Matt Nieto is hashtag crunk juice?
What?
No, he's beets flavored.
Oh, okay.
Oh boy.
With no flavor, and nobody likes that.
You guys know Matt Nieto's from Long Beach, right?
Right. So, but he's up and up with the rap, you know. So I was thinking crunk juice. Hello, get crunk. No.
No, he's sipping on gin and juice.
That's right.
Oh.
Laid back.
Oh, Slush.
Mind on my money and my money on my mind.
Slushy Slushy Jake says Joe Ward is Dr. Pepper. # not racist.
Wow.
I'm going to hell for laughing at that one.
Opinions expressed by our viewers do not necessarily represent Pucknology or their affiliates.
Oh, Chris coming back with Nieto would be purple drank. Get it right.
Can't do that one. Come on. I'm gonna have a drink. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think we've lost our minds.
Well, let's go over the
Well,
schedule,
this
right?
is Pucknology after drinks, right?
Back to you, Landy.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at the schedule. Thursday night, we've got the Sharks lining up against the Calgary Flames. This is a game 7:30 at the Tank. It will be on CSN California, and of course, we will have a Pucknology After Dark after this game. But it's the Calgary Flames. They're just coming off of a win tonight against the Maple Leafs. So you've got both teams coming off pretty big victories. You've got the Sharks, who really need to take care of home ice and need to take care of in-division opponents. So where do you guys stack up on this game, and who do you think gets the start? Do we think Brendan Dillon's out long-term? What are you guys' thoughts?
I think Stalock will probably get the start against Carolina because I think the game on Thursday against a division rival is more important, so Jones will start. I think maybe Dillon will miss no more than maybe 1 or 2 games, and yes, and I want world peace and and I'm losing my mind. Sorry, go ahead.
Miss America, you ignorant slut. What? I think Jonesy starts on Thursday. I think they save. Stalock for Saturday night against Arizona, even though it's a division game. I just think it'll be just in that. I would expect that Stalock gets in for maybe 1 of the 3 remaining Eastern Conference road games. Here's the situation: we come home for 2, and we're out for the next 5. And the funny thing is we'll have Florida, Tampa, and Carolina. I think are all the first 3 games on the road trip, if I'm correct.
Yep, and it's not a very bad road trip as far as travel goes. I think that one makes pretty good sense.
But with that right there, you'll be come by the end of next week, you'll be done with the entire Eastern Conference, and I think you'll only have like 4 or 5 games outside your time zone the rest of the way. That's a huge break right now for the Sharks that they.
I think that is pretty good. If they can keep up this incredible road pace, they're going to be in pretty good shape. It's pretty crazy, but we still have yet to play Vancouver. We have not played Vancouver yet, and it's just. Oh my God, we could go into the schedule all over again, but you know what? At least this trip isn't made by a 4-year-old just making really crazy lines on his map that he's got painted on the side of his room. Like not like last year. It was let's zigzag and zig and zag and zig and zag.
Well, I thought last year's dartboard approach to the travel really hurt the Sharks in the long run. It's like, where can the Sharks go to today? They're going to go from Tampa to Vancouver back to back. Let's do it. But yeah, it's like someone just copied and pasted an NHL 16 schedule that makes literally no sense, but whatever.
Or they figured out that they want to go back.
Okay.
Oh my God! So
What?
they're still playing the drink San Jose, who would be a slushy drink, and Laurel just chimes in. Kurz is a Bartle and James wine cooler. Yeah, he would strike me as a wine cooler kind of guy.
Nah, he's more like a roofie and tonic.
Oh! Shots fired.
Not laughing. Laughing.
Oh, and bench's backwash, AJ.
Oh.
Oh man.
Oh, wow. All right.
With that,
I think we broke Eric.
oh man, I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing. I swear, I'm not laughing. Wow. Oh boy. Yeah, like Laurel just tweeted. The Pucknology After Dark crew, you are in trouble. Go to hell. All right. Whoa! Wow. All right, Celeste, you gotta be careful with yourself there. All right. With that, we should probably wrap up. Last thoughts.
So glad the Sharks won, and I think I think they should use this as a message across the dressing room that, hey, we were able to shut down the Stanley Cup, Cup champs. I mean, there's nothing that we can't do now.
Yeah, they have to. They just keep going and bring that confidence, and don't get down when the first goal goes in against you. You just
because
keep
we all
fighting
know
hard.
because we all know we can challenge it and get it erased.
Yeah, exactly. Landy, your final thoughts?
Yeah, great game. I love that they didn't let the Blackhawks actually score right after they challenged, because that's a thing too, where the momentum is so tilted on the other side and they're so pissed off that they didn't get their goal that they come back and they scored anyways. Great kind of defensive game. Really had the Shark system stamped all over it, and I think that if they can continue this up against their division games, they're going to be in pretty good shape.
If they play like this at home, like they did tonight, I think we'll have a playoff spot like clinched before April.
Yeah, they're. I kind of start thinking about it. Unless Vancouver, Arizona, or Calgary make a big run, I think we're going to be pretty solidified as a playoff spot. I think the California teams have finally figured it out. I think it's going to be 1, 2, 3. The catch is, if you get number 2, you're going up against Anaheim. And you better hope that LA gets somebody from the Central that's actually going to challenge them. Yeah, they're going to have more of a travel wise, but you're going to have a interesting match with Anaheim going in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's worse, facing Anaheim or facing frickin' Nashville. Boy, if we had to face either one of those in the first round, ugh.
Yeah. I think we can figure out Anaheim quicker than we can figure out Nashville.
That's true.
And I will say this because I was supposed to tweet about this, but the challenge or the bet is that if the Sharks make the playoffs, I have to reshave the beard and let it grow for the playoff beard. And if they don't, I have to grow a mustache.
No,
So-
for the love of God, Sharks, make the playoffs.
And there are pictures of me with a mustache, and I look
it's
pretty damn good.
And it's pretty fugly. It makes him look reachy ugly. Yeah, same to you, pal. All right, with that, I'll take it home. Sharks win 2-0 over the Chicago Blackhawks. They played Thursday night, where they will break out for the final time the Heritage sweater. So maybe they'll get a win out of these finally. For crying out loud.
Okay, all right. I gotta post real quick. Stall for a minute.
Oh, I'm stalling? Okay, I got plenty of time. All right, so with that, reminder, March 5th is the Sharks Tweet Up. It's your annual gathering of Sharks fans on Twitter. I'm working on getting the design done for the buttons. April 9th, reveal your teal night. That's where we're encouraging everybody to wear teal at the Tank for Fan Appreciation Night. Back to you, Landy.
Hey, courtesy of your San Jose Sharks. They went ahead and they posted this on their Twitter feed. Go Sharks!
Oh, wow. The Sharks actually posted that.
That's pretty crazy. I didn't know that we had LA snark in us, but I guess we do.
Wow. Somebody must have gotten fired over there for that to happen from the social media department. That's about time for them to finally get their snarky act together. Nice.
All right. Well,
Played.
take us home.
All right, so Sharks win 2-0 over the Blackhawks. Thursday night, they are in the retro sweater for the final time. So this will be probably the final time that they'll wear the original logo, barring NHL 100th anniversary throwbacks or whatnot. So that's it for us. We'll be back with you Thursday night, some form, some way. Some of us will be here. Make sure you subscribe down below if you're on the YouTube page. Make sure you check out Pucknology.net for all your latest Shark stuff and comments and stuff. Don't forget, we'll have a Teal Tinted Glasses podcast coming up on Thursday as well, so make sure you check that out before you head out to the tank. Yes, I know. I told them to subscribe down below, lady. And make sure you check us out on Twitter and all that good stuff. March 5th, we'll see you at the tank for the tweet up. Until Thursday night, this is Eric. For everybody else here, keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it real fresh. Back to you.